Good morning, y'all. It's Lippy. It's been a long time since I just sat down and fellowshipped with y'all. Some of you that's been around a long time, we used to call it shed talks. Then when we moved to Kentucky, I would sit out by the pond. Well, now I sit on a cushion in my dream of a garden. Who knew a few months ago that we would even have a garden? We would even have materials to build this garden. But it's been long overdue that I did this video. Over the last 6 months, and I don't like to use the word subscribers, you know, my old friends, y'all know that. But my new friends that I've begun to have good fellowship with, develop a new friendship. Had a lot of emails wanting to know a little back history. And I think it's time that Lippy does just that. Because we've gained a lot of friends, guys. You know, I always said this platform, it's not mine, it's not Mr. Buddy's, it's ours. Because you see, we could be waters apart, many thousands of miles apart. But at the end of the day, as long as we have this technology, we are a community and we are friends. Though we may never meet in person, I still feel that we are meeting now. Some of you don't have a face to connect to the name, and that's okay. Because just the wording within your comments, I'm proud to call you my friend. This might be tough. There was a young lady. She's from Maine. I believe it's Maine. Minnesota. It's an M. I know that much. And she watched a very old video. And I want to say it was the pepper sauce video. The one that I put my head over the steam of the vinegar and was snot-nosing and crying, trying to seal the jars. It was that video. So I imagine y'all could find the comment going back to it. I believe that was the video. And how she's watching me and she is learning so much. And, you know, what is wrong with me? Not in an ugly way, but obviously either through comments or maybe she went forward and looked at some of the current videos. I don't know. But that sparked something in me. That pepper sauce video, I was just learning how to do a video. And I was able to give enough information, bad lighting, bad setup, but I gave obviously enough information that she perfected this pepper sauce that her family loves, okay? I was like, holy cow, I've grown so much in the last 3 years because of you. Now, what brings me to this sit down, shed talk, garden talk, is yesterday a Harvest Right freeze dryer was delivered to our home. Do not know the sender, nor do I want to know. If the sender wants me to know, the sender will let me know. But we graciously accepted an amazing, amazing gift that is going to provide, once I really learn, with Buddy by my side, food to preserve. Because what I do and what Buddy does, it's really not about us. It's about our extended family, our daughter, our grandkids, my mother-in-law. You see, that's what fuels us. We want to provide for them. It may not be financial, but we can provide a roof and we can provide food. If and when, and we pray not, that they hit a roadblock. This powerful machine will allow us to preserve. So I want to start by saying that first, okay? I want to just get it out there because I've had time to take a few deep breaths and say, wow, this is real. This is real. It's in my garage. It's got to get hooked up, but this is real. So I thank whomever gifted us that. But with that being said, it sparked another comment that was about 2 weeks ago. I want to say it was on a Sunday. It was a garden update, actually. I'm lying. It was on a Monday because remember the last two Sundays I had to post the video on Monday because we were so busy. How I have taught this person so much about gardening. They're a newbie. And my answer to that person was, I'm a newbie too. Because you see, every year there's going to be a battle we fight in a garden. No matter the years of experience that you have, there's always going to be something there blocking you. Well, in Lippy's words, the devil wants to move in, whether it's in bugs, atmosphere. So you see, we all learn each year something because we're all striving for the same thing, right? So some years you have an abundance of blessings, some years not so much. But you still have the blessings because you're still here striving to reach that harvest. And that's the way I view a garden, and that's the way I view my life. In 2002, I fell 21 feet, and I broke my back, both legs. And from 2002 to 2005, the year my daughter graduated, because she was my motivation. My husband was my motivation. I endured 16 surgeries. I had to learn to walk again. You see, in 2004, she was at her ring ding. Now, some of you may know, some of you may not know, that's where you're given your senior ring for moving to the last year of high school. And I said, April of 2004, I'm going to walk to that ring ding. Well, I kind of gimped. They set me up a chair in the gym on the bottom. So, Buddy drove me to the door, though 10 feet. That was walking. And I walked those 10 feet. And I sat in that little plastic chair with a walker, gimping, sliding. Let's be real. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Because you see, she was driving me. I wanted to set examples, even though my daughter was 17 years old. I needed to set example of strength, the example of courage. You know, as a parent, as long as we're living, no matter the age of our children, we still have to set those examples. And that's what motivated me to walk. The following year, I actually walked without a walker into the big stadium for graduation, though I ended up with a severe drop foot. Now, over the years, I've learned to manage it. I've learned to listen to my body. I know when to sit, when to stand. So my lifestyle really changed, y'all. I was an avid hunter, climbed mountains. I was an extreme tomboy, okay? You know, my good friend Allison, my bestie, came a few days ago, and we were just drinking coffee, and she looked at me. She said, "Did you ever have a girly job?" And I had to think about that. I said, no, never did. I drove a forklift truck in a warehouse, guys, when I got hurt. So, but it made me think. You know, although my activities are not what they used to be, I haven't been on a horse since I broke my back. I loved riding horses. But the one thing that didn't change was me. If anything, that actually made me listen to me. That incident made me realize then and there that I have work to do on this earth. And I need to be a good steward to people, to my property, a good example to my family. So we fast forward to 2007. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get my first mammogram because my mom passed in 1994 with breast cancer. She lived 16 weeks. I'm honored that my mom and my dad moved in with me, sold their home, and I was my mom's caretaker. I'm honored for that because even though it was 16 weeks, I took care of her as her and dad took care of me my whole life up until that point. So in 2007, I had my mammogram. 3 days later, they called me back. Oh, we got to do an ultrasound. Oh, okay. You know, it's not clicking. And it was Buddy and Nanny Joyce and I was in the back seat of Buddy's truck, and we were headed central Louisiana to visit Buddy's grandmother. And I got that call that said, we need to schedule you for an MRI. That's when the bells kind of started dinging, right? So it was within a day or two. Well, from there, we went to the PET scan. And just the word PET scan, it brought back 1994. Because you see, in 1994, when my mom was diagnosed in Louisiana, I was at Children's Hospital in Houston, Texas, with my 7-year-old daughter, who just went through 4 major surgeries. My daughter was born Siamese. The other fetus did not survive. But my daughter took on the other organs that was attached, and it was on the right side. So over a few years, we battled in and out of the hospital. In 1994, Felicia had her last 2 major surgeries, and I got that call. And Mom says, I'm coming to Houston. Because anyone that's in the South knows Houston is a major medical hub. And you just, well, it's still in God's time and God's will, but you want true medical, you go to Houston. That's just what we're taught. That's what we know, right? I said, okay, I'll be waiting. So they pulled in. It was within like 5 days. She checked out of the hospital. Dad drove her down. They pulled in, and I had Felicia in a wheelchair with her little pole. My dad was struggling. He had just had prostate cancer surgery. My dad was crippled. So we got a wheelchair for him. And I was like, how am I going to do this? So I put my daughter in my mom's lap. And if anybody's familiar with the hub of the medical center in Houston, it's not mountains or big hills, but it's like little slopes, you know, on the road or down in the hospital roads. So PT gave me this white band. It buckles like a belt. So I had strapped it around my dad. I strapped it around me. My dad had the back end. I put Felicia in my mom's lap. Mom's helping her hold the IV pole. And I'm pushing my mom and my daughter in this wheelchair. My dad's holding back, he's in his, and he's, you know, willing, right? But I made it to my mom's appointment. And that's when we knew, hey, the battle has begun. And we made it 16 weeks. So going back to 2007, that's when it was time for me to battle. And I did. It didn't matter about the hair loss. I fixed that. I'm very vain. I chose to go and get needles in my head to help grow my hair back. And it did. Boy, did it. It grew some. It's some jacked up hair up here, y'all. But my mother-in-law stayed steady with me. My husband stayed right by my side. And I battled for 2 years. But do you know what fueled me to fight? Because by then I became a grandmother to a beautiful little girl. I wanted to be on that floor playing with her. I wanted to teach her what I taught her mom. I wanted to be a big part of her life. I didn't know my grandparents. They were deceased when I came into this world. I didn't want that for her. So, God heard me. He said, you know, Lippy, you still have work to do, but make good of it. So there again, it was confirmation. Just be a good steward, be a good friend, be a good example. Encourage people. Make people laugh. Because you see, laughter is where I get my energy from. I don't want to tote a heavy heart. I don't want to tote a sour mouth. I want to tote a warm heart and a loud mouth of joy, you see. But that wasn't the biggest battle. No. The biggest battle came in July of 2018. Something wasn't going right. And my doctor said, I need to run a test. We need to look at something. I said, what? She goes, well, let's just run some tests. Said, okay. It was blood work. But it's where they go in through the artery. She said it's going to take a couple of weeks. Okay. Well, one ended up in Virginia, Atlanta, Georgia, I think Dallas lab, and another one. There was 4 labs. And she did that to get a true diagnosis. She had her suspicions. She had been treating me for many years. She was my general practitioner, right? She knew me. She knew my convictions. She knew what I would take, what I wouldn't take. And I was sitting down. I had worked in the yard. Me and Grandpa was by the garage. That was at our old house in North Louisiana. It was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And matter of fact, the grandkids was getting off the school bus. That's when it was. And I just got my sandwich. And I had a cup of coffee and some water. And I took a bite of my sandwich. And the phone rang. And it was the nurse. And she knew me as Lippy. She said, Lippy, I need you to be at the hospital ASAP. Do not eat or drink. Oh, I'm on the phone and I got a turkey sandwich here. I was like, oh, okay. She said, just get straight there. We'll have the papers there. She hangs the phone up. I said, well, how the hell am I So I called Buddy. He rushed home. He was about 15. He worked 15, 20 minutes from home. Grandpa stayed with the kids till Felicia got off. Bam, we went right into CAT scan. I said, what in the world is going on? They suspected that I had dropped a lung and something else. Well, we was there a couple hours. Everything was fine. And they said, okay, the last slides will be tomorrow. Well, need to say, I get home and it's lack of sleep. You know, I'm human. I'm worrying. I'm questioning. I'm overthinking, right? Well, the next day, the phone rang and it was my doctor. I need you to come to the office. I knew then. I just, you know these things. So I got in the car and I went. And I sat down. And the first thing out of her mouth, and she watches my YouTubes. I am sorry, you got dealt a bad hand. A bad hand of what? I was born, obviously, with a protein deficiency, M and N. My body does not retain protein. My body rejects any foreign antibodies that come in. And I'm trying to break it down to give a better understanding, because I'm asked this all the time. So I'm trying to sit here and just explain it the best way that I can understand it. And there's two forms of this deficiency. One, if I would have had the other deficiency, I could have been given a port and been given my proteins once a month. But no, that wasn't Lippy's case. So we can set you up on all of this, you know, and we can do this, this, this. I said, I got to think about it. She said, okay. She hugged me. I went on about my way. Then I had to tell Buddy when he got in. And I don't think I explained it that night very well. Memory serves me correct. I was like, well, I got my golden ticket to the Golden Gates and I'm done. And I think it was something like that. And I probably put a little sailor words in with that, okay? And he looked at me. He said, you ain't done. And just shoved it off. But you see, that's the best thing he could have ever done. Because I was like, you damn right I ain't done. So I had a choice. I could give in or I could accept. And I accepted. I accepted this challenge. Because I felt too good in here. So I do take injections every month. It used to be 3 shots. I'm down to 2. I'll do that for the rest of my days that I'm here on this earth. Because you see, Lippy is ready. This is not morbid, guys. This is not trying to bring a downer. But I'm ready when he calls me. But that's going to be a while. Because I still have work to do here. I still have learning to do. I still have examples to set. And I still have laughter to share. So, my new friends, I hope I have explained this and why you see a few comments. This is from older friends that know, you know, in listening throughout this YouTube journey. So now let's move to the YouTube journey. Because remember, that was in July of 2018. Well, it was in July that I was handed an iPad. And I was like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? He says, you want to know about your garden, you punch this, 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 this. This was my husband on the back patio. Y'all, first I had to figure out quit turning it, because every time you turned it, it turned what you was watching. And that's when I met Mr. Danny and Miss Wanda at Deep South Homestead. And that's when I realized, oh, just because one video cuts off, it don't cut off. Others follow. I found myself for hours just watching this. It's like, this is freaking amazing. Plus, who is this man? This man's talking to me. And that started my YouTube, not my channel. So we fast forward, and in May of 2019, I was told I'm going to have a channel. by many channels out there right now. And I was like, yeah, they will shut me down the first hour. Well, in May of 2019, I made 3 videos. I think it was called Nice to Meet You. I don't even think I've changed the title, y'all. Couldn't edit. So it's like, turn on. A matter of fact, if y'all watch them, I think, unless I've gone, I don't think I've gone and changed it. You'll see me get up and turn it on. You'll see me get out of the chair and turn it off. That's all the hell we knew. You know. So we rocked on. I started this channel. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just knew that I love people. I just knew that some of my crazy ways of cooking, gardening, joking, that was kind of different to some people's palate. But I still felt that was part of why I'm still here. Because I didn't realize that Buddy and I were empty. Not with each other, but empty on the outside. We were so focused because we are in love today as the day we met. And I'm honored to say that. But there was something missing. And it was good people. Not that we were around bad people, but we just stayed working. We had jobs to do. We had things to do, right? So I got to meet Danny and Wanda in 2019. And so many others. And I was like, yeah, this is what you're supposed to do. So we rock on. Here's 2020. March of 2020, I got very ill. Yeah, it was the bad C. Though that batch of tests came negative, they wanted to admit me because they had a new batch they had to test me with, and I knew, don't you do it. You've come too far. Do not do it. And I didn't. I was a very sick person. My oxygen stats was about 81, 82. That's not too good. Blood pressure, I was bumping about 80 over 56. Some days it would be 91 over 68, 69. Buddy was worried. But there was this one person, annoying as hell, Wanda, because she knew. Every day, every hour of the days, and I think this was 4 days, she rang that phone, she messaged. Buddy would make me wake up to answer her. But you see what she was doing? Do you see what Buddy was doing? They were encouraging me, whether I knew it or not. I had to fight through this. I had to make my mind think. I know this because I was told this. Because you see, for 4 days, I have no memory of that. But Buddy says, on the 3rd day, he says, you said, go get your machine. And I piled it with albuterol 4 times a day, a mask. And I told him to go get some other medicine. I don't recall this. But on that 4th day, I woke up and I was like, holy crap, where have I been? What has happened? And that's when I knew I got this. That was in March. And April 24th of 2020, a storm blew in, the videos in the playlist. And that storm destroyed our home, our property, within a matter of minutes. I'm like, I'm angry. What the hell? And you start looking up and you're like, what did I do so bad? But you see, it's not about what we did bad. It's not going to be about what you do bad. But instead, you turn that negative, you turn that catastrophe, and you make it positive. This camera on this phone, this YouTube, this social media stuff, be the example that no storm is too dark not to go through it. Never, ever will be a storm that makes me fearful. And I wasn't gonna let this one make me fearful. Although it took many months to rebuild that. But 2 weeks later, on May 1st of 2020, Buddy was driven home, pulled in the driveway in the passenger seat of his company truck. And I was sitting on the porch, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I set my coffee cup down, and I knew. They had to trim the fat, guys. You know what I'm talking about. They had to trim the fat, and he was one of the fats. 20 years, you know, there's a story. And I said, oh, now what? So what did we do? We got the house fixed up, took our retirement. We're going to start over. We're going to go to the state of Kentucky. Nothing wrong with the state of Kentucky, by no means. That was probably the worst 11 months of our lives. There was battle after door close, and when those doors keep closing, that grass wasn't so greener on the other side. That was the best thing that ever happened to us. Why? Because it gave us a chance to forgive ourselves for running. Because let's face it, that's what we did. No matter how old you are, we ran. Don't know why, but we can say that today with true conviction. Because we knew we needed to be home. We should have never left home, but we had to leave home. You see, there was a lesson that we had to learn, and we learned it the best way because we gave it our all. And when that last door closed, that door opened to come back home. Because you see, there's an old saying my daddy used to say, for every 2 doors that close, one will open. One day, one will open, and that door opened. But you see, we had to go and knock on hundreds of doors, it seemed. And the one door that opened was the door getting us home. We landed back home on the 27th of November of 2021. I am now sitting here in my garden on June the 14th of 2022. And I am grateful. I'm so grateful. And it's not by the harvest right, because that's still blowing my mind. But I am so grateful that we have been given a chance and the opportunity to make this crazy YouTube stuff that I've learned just what I want to learn. I don't care to learn anymore. But make this a place for us, all of us, to have a voice. Not an ugly voice, but a positive voice. Joke with each other, laugh with each other, learn with each other. So for every tomato plant that you can harvest, and I had a part to play in it, thank you, because you trusted me. For every recipe that you try and your family loves it, thank you, because you allowed me to teach that. Because you see, we're all flavors. And today is the day that I needed to turn this camera on and catch our new friends up to date. Who is Lippy? What motivates Lippy? It's you. That's what motivates me. Jesus is my fuel. Forever, day, middle of the day, at night, utmost, Jesus will always be first. My family will be second. And each and every one of you I consider family. Because of the most kindest words that you speak. I am proud. I'm very proud to know that I am in such amazing company. I'm very proud that I can hold my head up and know that I've impacted somebody in a positive way. Because that is why I'm still here today. I truly, truly believe it. So when we sit back and we ask why, we don't do that, see? But when we sit back and we think and we look around, your answer will be there, because my answer is here now. It's every one of you that accepted me for me. No judgment. That's what we need to do to everyone. Throw the evil away and concentrate on this amazing journey of friendship and fellowship and lessons learned, tears shed together, a smile. It's just that simple. So who is Lippy? Lippy is a lady full of grace. Lippy is a lady full of love. And I'm a lady that says thank you.